What's up, guys? It's your boy Elvy, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the best allies for every role. Yes, you heard that right. Every single role. I will leave the timestamps in the description if you guys want to skip over to a specific role. But we're going to start off with DPS. Now, as you guys know, they did revamp Water, and they're going to revamp Hard Light, and they're going to continue to revamp Powers. So you guys want to make sure you're getting the right allies to help you do the max amount of damage, the max amount of heals, the best in every single role. So let's start off with DPS, okay? Now, for DPS, it's pretty straightforward, and pretty much the allies I'm going to be showing you guys are across the board with pretty much every power. Okay, so with DPS, your passives, I want to make this clear. Your passives or your support allies are more important than your combat. Why? Because these passives are always active, while your combat, when you pop them, they do damage, but a lot of the times they may miss, or they'll just do a fixed amount of damage. So make sure when it comes to leveling, if you guys want to ask the question, which one should I level up first? Level up your support allies first. Get your support allies both to level 6 minimal. After 6 to 10, it gets a little harder because they cost a lot of ally favor. But everyone should at least be able to get your support allies to level 6. Your combat ally, if you want to be the most affordable, just get Crypto. He's fast damage. He pretty much never misses. He's single target damage, but he does a good amount of damage, and he's pretty cheap, and he's good. But if you want the best AoE damage, you have two options. You can get Superboy, or you can get Mr. Freeze. Now, Superboy, he does a blow up damage, non-split, meaning if there's 20 targets, it's going to do more damage, and he's really good for AoE. And then there's Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is also really good because when he comes out, he just starts spraying his ice gun, and he's one of the more recent allies. He's really good for combat. Now, for support, you want Starfire. Somebody asked me in one of my comments, hey, Elvy, why do you have weapon buff in your loadout if your weapon buff is supposed to buff your weapon, but you're using your superpowers? Well, this is the reason why. If you read the middle section, it says, using a weapon buff ability grants you 8% might and then 3% precision. Now, I did cover this in my Water video, but essentially, if you pop the weapon buff like twice in a row, it does stack. So for like 4 seconds, you have 16% rather than the 8. The reason why is because the Starfire buff lasts longer than what the cooldown of the ability is. So if you pop it right away, you can essentially double the buff. And if you're Water, you can quadruple it. So if you guys want to see how that's all done, make sure you guys go check out my Water video. So this is essentially why you use Starfire and why I have the weapon buff. Pretty much for every power I use, I have that in my loadout. And you'll see a lot of people around in the community, whether it's in streams or YouTube videos, they'll have something of the sort as well. Now, Flash, okay? Now, Flash, the reason why we use Flash, again, is the middle ability. Using a supercharged ability now restores a portion of the supercharge you use, and it reduces the delay between combat and faster movement. So basically, it's pretty straightforward. Every time you use a supercharge, it gives you 15% back. So it allows you to be able to spam supercharges. If you guys watch my gameplay on stream, you guys watch me on YouTube, you'll see that I spam a lot of supercharges. How am I doing that? Because of Flash. So that's why you want to level him up. He's great. Again, try to get your allies at least level 6 each, and that's more viable. If you can go further, then go further. And also, he lets you run faster. So let's say I'm going from ad set to ad set, he's going to allow me to go quicker. So that's basically the DPS allies. Again, some cheaper alternative is really just run Crypto as a combat. Other than that, I wouldn't switch out these for anything else. If you have Static already leveled up, you can put in Static instead of Starfire, but I feel like Flash is a must-have. But yeah, that's pretty much it. For single target, like when I'm in boss fights, I'll put on John Constantine. The reason why I put on John Constantine is because he gives, if you read that first section, he gives 10% defense, 18% might, and 9% precision. So he buffs your entire group, including yourself, with a bunch of stats. So when I'm in a boss fight, usually I'll run these allies. The only reason why I don't use John Constantine on hallways is because he's stationary. He puts a big circle, so it doesn't make sense to run him on the hallways because you're obviously going to move out of the circle. When you're in a boss fight, you're going to stay in the circle. Now, John Constantine, I'll tell you guys right now, he's universal. You want to use him as a tank, as a healer, as a troll, as a DPS when it comes to boss fights. He's probably the most broken ally because he gives 18% might and it stacks. So if everybody's using it, your stats just continuously keep going up. So he's really, really, really good. That pretty much covers the DPS. Now we're going to hop right into the troll right here. No editing, no cuts. So for troll, the allies that you're going to want, again, like I said, John Constantine as your combat. Then you're going to want General Zod. Why do you want General Zod? Well, activating a group power heal ability grants you and your group members 3% might and 1.5% precision. But the downfall is it does decrease your VIT. And by decreasing your VIT, you're gonna give out less power. But this is where you compensate for that. When you have Jon Stewart, you use the group power shield ability, replaces the shield with a stronger Green Lantern shield, 35% additional health, and also increases your VIT for 12 seconds, depending on how many allies you shield with. So he's really great, especially for raids when you can help people survive longer and you also increase your VIT. So they kind of pair really well. Now there's a bunch of alternatives that you can use for trolling, and I'm going to make a whole video talking about it, but you can use Blue Beetle. You can use the aggression motivator. When you use a supercharge generator, it drains 2,000 supercharge, but it marks a target for 8 seconds. Now, when your group members attack this target, it gives them health and power by 3%, so they're getting health and power, and they also get 1% supercharge per hit. So, with that being said, he's a really good ally, but he's going to be a swap ally, which we will be making a video on in the future. So, Blue Beetle is really good for trolls, and then Nubia is also another ally you can use as a troll. So, trolling does have a lot of allies that you can use. Basically, when you defeat an enemy, grants 2% might and 4% precision to you and all your nearby allies. This is more of a precision one because it gives 4% precision while it only gives 2% might, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to give that 2% might. So that's another great one. You can use, if you don't have Black Adam, you can also use Black Adam, especially if you're running Bop. If you're running Bop, which is a supercharged generator artifact, if you guys don't know what that is, you guys can check out my videos on artifacts. But you can run Black Adam if you want to be able to spam your group shield further. You can spam your group shield a lot more if you have Black Adam, because you can run the Bop supercharge generator plus your power set supercharge generator. So now you have both. So you can just keep spamming supercharge and keep spamming your group shield, which is your supercharge. So the other one is Batman Who Laughs. Batman Who Laughs, he does have another toxic encore. Hitting an enemy below 45% health with a finisher arms your next finisher with a toxin bomb, and that lowers the defense of the enemy. So if you do this as a troll, it's pretty good because it'll lower the defense, especially when we're talking about plus content. Lowering the defense by 7% for 10 seconds, you'd be surprised how much of a difference that actually does. So let me just sum up with the whole troll, because troll is the one that has like the most stuff going on. Usually I would recommend if you want to keep it simple, you run these three. If you're struggling to keep people up with power, then run Black Adam and just spam your group shield. Okay. Now, Blue Beetle and Batman Who Laughs, I would really only recommend them if you're swapping them in and out, which is a whole nother story, which we'll break into another video. And then Nubia, I would only suggest to use if you're using it on hallways. So Nubia, hallways, Blue Beetle, Batman Who Laughs on boss fights if you're swapping in and out. And if you really want to go power troll, use Black Adam and Jon Stewart. If you're trying to buff and give power, run General Zod and Jon Stewart. I hope I made myself pretty clear. It's pretty straightforward. Another thing you can do if you want to spam group shield, you can run Flash and Jon Stewart, because back to what I said about the DPS, every time you use Flash, he's going to give you a portion back of the supercharge, allowing you to continuously spam the shield. So that's great as well. Another thing you can do, I forgot about this actually, you can run Shield, you can run Cyborg. Shield abilities summon a drone that releases power restoring pulses. So this is another ally that you can swap in, pop a shield and then swap out, which I'll be making a video on. Or you can just have them slotted in, and then every 50 seconds, I don't have them maxed out, but every so often, a drone's gonna come out, and that drone's gonna give power. So that's for the people that are struggling with power. I do have a troll guide on my YouTube if you guys want to be able to know a little bit more, but I hope I covered pretty much everything. I believe trolling does have a lot when it comes to allies. There's definitely a lot of allies with trolling, a lot of artifacts. That's why I usually recommend people, if you're not trying to spend too much money or time, don't be a troll, because it does cost a lot there's a lot of things for it. So that's pretty much it. But let's hop into healer. Now, before we continue to the next row, I did want to take a quick moment to tell you guys, I do have a ton of alliances that I'm willing to sell it to you guys at a very affordable rate. You guys can contact me through Discord or email me or through the game, but it only works if you're PC. If you guys are PlayStation, unfortunately, I can't trade it to you. I hope that DC Universe in the future makes it where we can trade across platforms, but unfortunately I can only trade to PC. So if you're PC, make sure you guys are contacting me if you guys do need legendary or epic or even rare alliances. You do need these to be able to level up your allies, so make sure you guys contact me. Now healer is pretty simple. Healer is really simple. Okay, all you're gonna use is Black Adam and Flash. Why? Flash allows you, gives you a super you guys will see a pattern. Flash is pretty much good for everything, so he's definitely worth leveling up first. But Flash gives you a portion back of your supercharge, which obviously if you guys watch any of my heal guides or if you guys seen any healers, you'll see that they do EOG spam where they're giving greens to the group or they're spamming supercharges. As you guys see, I run 4 supercharges on my water. You basically want to use Black Adam because Black Adam is going to give you, every time you use a supercharge generator, it's going to give you more supercharge. And then you use Flash, so every time you use a supercharge, it gives you a portion back. And these two allies essentially allow you to continuously spam your supercharges. And then obviously you want John Constantine so you can buff the group with the might, with the defense, with the precision. And that's pretty much heal. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Healer, you want Black Adam and Flash. If there's one ally that I would recommend you guys level up first, is the Flash. But let's get right into the last role, which is tank. Alrighty, now for tank, also pretty straightforward. There's a few options that you can do. Here you guys see the Mr. Freeze. For combat, I would use John Constantine. John Constantine for boss fights. For hallways, you can use either Mr. Freeze or Superboy, as I mentioned earlier on the DPS end. But for boss fights, you definitely want John Constantine. Now, for your support allies, the must-have for a tank, must-have, is going to be Superman. Why? Because using a group breakout ability gives you and all of your teammates a 35% damage reduction shield. So now you're giving your group immunity and a shield, so to you and the whole group. So that's like a must-have. You definitely want to have that up and level them up at least to level 6. If not, try to get to level 10. I think when you level them up higher, it produces more damage and it also has a lower cooldown. Lex Luthor is really good as well because he increases your dom, your resto, your vit, and your defense when you get under 50% health. So he's just gonna buff up all your stats and it's gonna be amazing. Now Lex Luthor, it was definitely worth leveling up, especially when we're talking about, you know, tanking like heavy bosses that are going to be doing heavy damage. Lex Luthor is going to help you be able to tank all of that. Now, some of the other allies you can use is, again, Flash. Flash can be used because it'll restore supercharge back. And this is really good for, like, if you're Atomic and you want to spam Mass Dents, or if you want to spam Dash Attack, or if you want to spam any tank supercharge. I think Fire also has a pretty good tank supercharge. Now that we have 2 loadouts, you can definitely throw in some superchargers in there and do some really good work with it. As you guys see, I do have, like, here I have Word of Power, which Word of Power increases the health for me and the group. I have Dash Attack, which is a shield, and then I also have Metallic Boost, which restores my health and gives me immunity. So, I mean, and then there's Ice Elemental. So if you want to go with the route of having a bunch of supercharges in your tank build, you could do that by using Flash. But the must-have is Superman. Superman is the must-have for a tank. But again, you can level up Flash, and Flash pretty much works across the board for every role. So if you guys don't have Flash, make sure you guys are getting them. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you guys want to see any other videos. Drop it down in the comment section. Peace out.